This episode is brought to you by Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create a professional website, blog, portfolio, and online store. For a free trial and 10% off your first purchase on new accounts, just head on over to squarespace.com and use offer code Gamebreaker7. This episode is also brought to you by Shutterstock.com. With over 20 million high-quality stock photos, illustrations, vectors, and video clips, Shutterstock helps you take your creative projects to the next level. For 30% off your new account, go over to Shutterstock.com and use offer code Gamebreaker7. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Derpy Dragon, the free-to-play show right here on Gamebreaker.tv. This is episode number 9 for July 26th, 2013. You're watching Free-to-Play TV. I'm Gary Getting. Coming up on today's show, Age of Wushu has a very unique gameplay mechanic. That's how I'm going to go. Now we're just gonna talk about some games from Trion a bunch, and they have too many games. But first, of course, the editor-in-chief over from FreeToPlayTV, Mr. Mike Byrne. How are you?
Hello, sir. How are you?
Very, very,
I'd
very
like
good.
everybody to try on this episode for size.
No.
Wow. Trion Worlds.
Trion. All right. Welcome. Thanks for coming back to the show and watching again. The show where we talk about the free-to-play games for the week, alongside our other site, FreeToPlay.tv. So this is it. This has got to be the greatest MMO of all time. I'm going to say the search is over. How did I come to this revelation, you may ask? Well, if I were to join the Rootless clan in Age of Wushu, along with 4 of my clan members, we could find another player in need of, let's say, how do I put this? A little enlightenment. We could beat him within, an inch of his life.
Right. Well, it's a PvP game, so that totally makes sense. I'm with you.
Yeah. And we could forcibly castrate him.
Whoa! Not where I thought we were going. Oh, boy.
Wow. Talk about news coming out of left field. People are like, what is he talking
Rootless
about?
Clan. Rootless.
I am talking about Age of Wushu.
Trion joke wasn't that bad now. Rootless.
Have they added or are adding? I don't know if it's in there yet or if it's coming. Boom-ba. A castration mechanic in Age of Wushu.
Yes.
We just talked about a whole story about Snail and their business model for their upcoming free-to-play game, Black Gold. And now they've introduced a castration mechanic into Age of Wushu.
Uh-huh.
Who is mixing the Kool-Aid over at Snail Games?
I have no idea.
The F?
As if Age of Wushu wasn't, used to controversy anyway. I mean, you're talking about a game where you can literally kidnap somebody and sell them into slavery. So it's just kind of like, well, we've already got kidnapping, we've got slavery. What's next?
Castration, that's it.
Get out the list of wow. Bring it over here, let's see what it says. And castration. Okay, that seems.
Is this the greatest game? Is this the greatest game mechanic ever to grace any MMO ever?
It's certainly the most bizarre. Can you think of anything else out there?
No.
Will make it to the West is another question though. It's there. Okay. I'm going to try and justify this for a minute, Gary. I know. The whole Wulin, Wushu, that whole lore and the Wuxia lore, and I'm mispronouncing that because I'm just not knowledgeable about the topic, but that lore, castration does make a big prominent feature in there multiple times. It's the whole idea of purification, not only of the body, but of the martial abilities as well, and transcending the human. So there's a place in the lore that the game is based around for this type of thing. But the question is, do you really want to put it in a game?
In a game? Really? Explain. What do we know about it? You can't just do this to a random newbie, right? Like somebody can't just like drop in and you just like grab and like castrate, done, boom. I mean, it has to be a high level character, I'm assuming.
Yeah, there's a couple different ways to join the Rootless clan. The first is if you level up the Sunflower manual to at least level 25, you'll have the option to join. You can find a recommendation staff and undergo the ritual. Yes, that's very funny today. Undergo the ritual by choice and join the Rootless clan. Or you could be walking around and get ambushed by Gary Gannon and 4 of his friends, beaten to within an inch of your life, thrown into a magical tent. NPCs are trying to save you, and they get slaughtered by Gary and his friends. And if the ritual's a success, you lose the guys, and you have a chance to join the Rootless clan.
You lose the guys.
It's been a good day.
You lose the guys. Hey, I heard there's a what's this? What's this about the symbolic tent?
Yeah. Okay. Well, to answer your first question, you do have to be a certain level and pretty high fame. You're not gonna get diced as a newbie.
And then do you pitch the tent?
The game for a while. Not anymore. So yeah, you get beat up and you're really low on hit points, and all of a sudden it's like magical tent from the video we saw, which is not in English, so it's just kind of we can watch visually what happens. Tent slams down onto your victim, covering them up. Little like I don't know, ceremonial.
I can't believe we're talking about this. I cannot, like, it's just sinking in that we're talking about castration in an MMO. Snail, please, what are you thinking? Who is on
to Derpy Dragon?
What is going on over there?
So yeah, tent, and people try to save you. One interesting thing here that we still don't know is if other people can try to save you. Like if you're just walking through town and you see the tent of doom fly down onto somebody, you go, there's somebody's about to lose his nuts. Let's save him. You don't know if players can interact with this yet, but NPCs will try to rescue it. They did say
thank God.
that the ritual has a very, very low chance for success. So, I mean, that's good. But if it fails, you're damaged very heavily. So, who knows?
I'm re-rolling tonight. I'm re-rolling D's nuts tonight. I'm in a new character, D's nuts, and I'm coming after everybody. All right, I don't want to ask a stupid question, but I'm going to.
There's a question in chat though, and it's Mr. Hawks, as I've heard his name. Is it dark inside the tent? I was thinking the exact same thing when I was watching this video. I want to see. It was nice to see the whole ritual from the attackee's perspective. I really wanted to see what was going on from the victim's perspective. Like, okay, I'm getting beat up, but then what happens when this tent hits me? Is it just dark and I'm hoping for the best?
You want first person view? You want like POV? Mike wants like POV with his legs like stuck up in the air and like birth style, and then all of a sudden, Rootless Clan is just like.
But like, what's it do? Does it just go fade to black, and a few minutes later it comes up and it's like, congratulations, you're now a eunuch, or thing failed and now you need to armor repair? What happens from that player's perspective? No, I don't want a camera first-person view of the nuts going bye-bye. But what does happen there is kind
lob them off and then do a juggling act outside,
Start doing sleight of hand.
Yeah. Was it cups and balls? What is that called?
That's called the cups and balls.
Cups and balls. It's a magic trick.
Unfortunate name for this discussion.
I don't want to ask a stupid question, but I'm going to ask a stupid question. But can a female character join the Rootless clan?
You would think, by proxy, being rootless, but no. It's male only, and it's obviously evil aligned as far as Age of Wushu's alignments go.
Any other restrictions? How does that work?
No, you've got to be high level, and you have to have sufficient fame in certain areas. So other than that, no. Like I said, the other two ways is if you get the Sunflower Manual to 25, or if you find the recommendation staff and go through the ceremony yourself. Both of those items automatically would require you to be at high level to complete anyway. So, yeah.
I'm so glad we started off the show.
Be famous.
Yeah, I'm so glad we started the show off with this conversation. Great news story. It's a good week. I wonder if this is going to become a trend. Do you think Blizzard? Blizzard has a tendency to steal ideas, good ideas, right? You think you're gonna?
They're like, you know what? Vivendi would never let us do this. We should probably buy ourselves back.
Yeah.
Let's buy ourselves back and let's get in the drain.
Pardo's been like, oh my god, Pardo's been like, oh my god, I've wanted to castrate people in World of Warcraft forever. Thank God, now we can do this.
Oh man!
Instant subscriber base increase. Now you guys know why this is why we've been dropping 600,000 subs. We don't have the castration mechanic.
Yeah, we don't have enough people losing genitalia. That's what it all came down to. Millions left because we couldn't do it.
What do you think? Is this just like shock value, like PR, just to get in the news?
Yeah. Can you think of any other reason they would do it, just besides the sheer shock value?
It's like this. It's like they one upped. Like we all got this excited when they talked about just kidnapping people. Like that was the cool thing, right? You can kidnap people and put them in a sack, and then they got that was cool. Now this is just like, oh my god, that wasn't like crazy enough. I mean, what's
can
next?
You imagine the board meeting where this was actually discussed? There's 15 people sitting around. What should we do? Well, we've got Legends of Mount Hua coming up. That's going to be good. We're adding a bunch of different
Legends
things in
of
there.
Mount Hua.
We've got
nothing is off the table at Snail. Nothing.
No,
nothing. Have you heard about the business model of the other game, Black Gold, we talked about on Twimo?
Yeah, we're going to hold your items hostage at certain time markers unless you want to pay some money for them. Great payment model. Fantastic.
Hey, I don't know, something it scares me when game companies I get wanting to. I've read, what is it called? Zag. I think it's when everybody's zigging, use Zag. The idea of when everybody's going this way, go that way. I can kind of respect the idea of trying to make something really different but man, I don't know. I feel like they're just who's driving this ship? And where are these ideas coming from?
The thing is, though, did they really need it? I mean, Age of Wushu, we have talked about. I once, earlier this week, I sent Q a message when I was typing an article saying, if I have to type the word Wushu one more time, I'm going to stab myself in the face. Because it seemed like every day there was some new story that I was like, oh, I got to put it out there. It's pretty good story. They're talking about making movies. They're talking about an expansion. They're talking about being able to hire NPCs to go and brief your friends for you when you can't be online. Those are good things. Did they really need this? I don't think so. And I can't imagine this actually coming to the Western version of the game.
You don't,
can you?
You don't think so? I can.
No.
Yeah, I think so.
Really? Wow. I don't think so. We'll put a little wager on it after the show, because I don't think this makes it to the West. And Europe's probably a little dicey too, although there's a better chance of it going into Age of Wulin in Europe than going into Wushu in U.S.
I don't know what's going on over there. Definitely. That has got to be one of the craziest stories we've covered in a long, long time. I don't know. It's going to be hard.
Does it make you nervous for what's next?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. What's next? There's obviously sky's the limit here. There's obviously nothing off the table. I don't know what else could be they could be thinking about, and they're just who knows? God, I can't even think about it.
No, it boggles the mind. You're oh man. You have ideas, and you're I really hope they don't go there, but then they went here, for crying out loud.
I'm thinking they're going anywhere. All right, I want to talk about Trion. First, I want to tell you guys about Squarespace. If you guys do not have a website, you need a website. And if you have a website, it probably doesn't look as good as it should, and you should probably check out Squarespace. All you got to do is go over to squarespace.com and use the offer code Gamebreaker7 on a new account. We're going to save you guys 10% off. Check this out. I got tweeted the other day by somebody who saw our show and said, "Hey, I made our guild's website using Squarespace," and they sent me the link. And check this out. First off, right off the bat, I mean, this looks like a modern website. Great design, even just from the UI, the text treatment looks awesome. Let's click around a little bit and see what's going on. All right, blog format. I've got to make it full screen. All right, so it's all dynamic, which you're not seeing. I'm going to move this around, which it actually looks great, but you got to resize stuff because the whole thing is responsive and dynamic inside the browser. So they've got their blog section, their guide section. They've got full screen video. They've got an about page. Let's see. Created a bunch of nice artwork. Not created, but put in a bunch of nice art. They've got their apply section, so they got their whole guild forum here to fill out and kind of, to see if you want to join the Magisterium Vanguard. Very, very, very cool website. So I just wanted to point that out and show that off. It looks very cool. If you guys have not checked out Squarespace, like I said, if you guys can code, Squarespace is awesome because you can kind of get under the hood and start doing some really cool custom stuff. If you're like me and you can't code, Squarespace is equally as awesome. So you just go over and you start with these awesome templates that really just get you going really, really quick, and you could start swapping stuff out, swapping images out and things like that, moving text around, changing padding. Let's check out a different one today. I don't know which one do I want to see. I don't think I've looked at this one. This looks kind of be more like a photographer might use or something to kind of show off stuff, but I could see a guild maybe doing this to show off some of their stuff. Let me resize this again. Again, all of these are dynamic and responsive to the browser, so that's why I'm moving this around, and you're seeing the sizes change and things resize. All that happens right there, so whether you're viewing this on a desktop or a mobile device, things like that, it all looks really cool. Okay, so this is like a collaboration thing. It looks like they're selling items and stuff. Let's check out the eyewear section. So again, if you have something an online store or something like that, they have the online stores all built into Squarespace. Not a ridiculously hard thing to implement on other websites. It's very hard to implement. I've had to go through that more than once, and it's not easy at all. It's all built into Squarespace. And like I said, check it out. Go over to squarespace.com. Use offer code Gamebreaker7. We're going to save you guys 10% off on your account. And don't forget, you guys can, you can buy your domain through them. And your hosting is all, included in that monthly fee, depending on what tier of a package you choose. So it's really a one-stop shop. Go there, get your domain, get your hosting set up, start off with your templates, start moving some stuff around and checking it out today. And they've also got a free trial, so you can get in there and kind of play with it and kind of see what your site's going to look like before you have to buy. So check it out today, squarespace.com, offer code Gamebreaker7. Love having those guys on as sponsors. Trion community manager James Nichols, aka Elrar, as you guys mostly know him in the community. He is talking a little bit about the Archeage this week on the Archeage forums. So we don't have this game yet, obviously, waiting for it. Elrar, I guess he wanted to let the community in on some of the hurdles that are going on and what they're doing. So he said, and I quote, he said, "The first really big one in progress right now is working with XL," that's the company who's developing the game in the East, to integrate the game itself with our account and billing platform. This is essentially to enable server access for anyone outside of our office. We do not pass go. We do not collect $200 until this very important phase has been completed. It is the top priority. But as you can imagine, it is extraordinarily complex with many people and moving parts involved. Guess they got to make some money with this game, but
Apparently.
Actually,
I think it's more based on being able to get people in, because Trion has that whole single sign-on thing for their games platform. So if they can't get that network to link in with Archeage, then you can't get anybody outside the offices in. But then, of course, yes, you got to make the money. And we still don't know the payment model on this one, but we've kind of at least adopted the idea on this show that it's probably going to be their first free-to-play launch.
Yeah, we've
Whether or
kind
not
of
we'll write on that, we'll see.
We're assuming, and you'll then see this covered over on Twemo, but we've kind of lumped it into the free-to-play show for now. Hopefully we'll get this sorted relatively soon, as some of the XL game folks are coming over to help with the servers and stuff like that. So next up, Elrar said this. He said, of course, we also need to localize the game so you're not playing in Korean. We've got the first large chunk of localization done, and we're working on the updates and doing edit passes to make sure that the localization is as good as we can possibly make it. Once these significant milestones have been accomplished, closed testing can begin. Our plan is to be at this point within the next few months. Localization, just run it through Babelfish, right? Google Translate, flawless, done. YouTube's got a great translation.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Have you ever run stuff through YouTube's translator and looked at it?
Not just
so
the
bad.
translator. I mean, for crying out loud, just do closed captions for an hour. That's enough to get lost in that world. Always turn those on. Yeah, that'd be fun, right? I'm either supposed to kill 10 leopards or poke a badger with a spoon.
Or castrate a bunny. I don't know. Who knows? He also mentioned that there was 1 million words of text, and thankfully Trion are not taking this lightly. Sloppy translation would be a huge turnoff. Is that a turnoff for you? Does it bother you?
Yeah, it drives me nuts.
Does
I
it?
am almost Jason Winter level when I look at a website that has misspellings and things, and I make my own mistakes, and I recognize that, and Jason's called me out on one or two of them before. So, but I'm almost to that level where I look at a site or I look at a game. I'm a little more forgiving the more lighthearted the game takes itself. I guess it puts me in that frame of mind where, oh, okay, let's just fun anyway. But something like Archeage, where the whole idea is we want you to be immersed in this world, the first thing that's going to throw me out is piss poor localization.
What about? It's interesting about all this. He talks about the amount of text, right? Where I got to see the E3 demo, which was very small sliver. I've watched a lot of the. I nerded out for like a week watching like a ton of Archeage videos. But I didn't. I never really got.
Was this after you perused the Star Citizen PDF brochure?
This is long before, long before that. I wonder. I kind of where all that text is coming from, because I kind of was under the impression that Archeage was not very super story driven. It was much more sandboxy, and I was kind of surprised at how many.
And it's amazing, like as much footage as is out there. You know, whether or not we can read it or not, since it's in Korean. There's a ton of footage out there, and you're right. I've seen very little text in any of that footage. I've seen a little bit here and there, but you think 1 million words. I haven't seen anything to indicate that it's that level of localization.
Obviously,
so there must be
though.
a lot we haven't seen, which is a good thing in my book.
Finally, he says this. He says, know this. He says, any Westernization that occurs will likely be very minimal and done to improve usability, understanding of mechanics based on conventions we've grown accustomed to that differ from those of Korean gamers. He says, don't expect entirely new features exclusive to the NAEU release or sweeping changes to mechanics. What you can expect are small tweaks to the way some existing features function. Archeage is already an amazing game. That's why we have always been excited. Publish it. Something. Okay. Guess maybe he's. Maybe he needed a translator right there.
Sick.
I gotta ask, what do you think about that? Because it almost seems as if for a lot of years we saw a lot of games where they use this term, Westernization, where they're translating the game over. And it's funny because most of the companies I've seen in the past actually kind of go out of their way to talk about how we're not just doing a translate of text. Like we're really making the game more tailored to the Western world and the way you guys play games. And they the Eastern style gameplay is a bit more grindy and things like that. And we're going to change that. And we're adding this, that, and the other. Trion's going the opposite. And they're just like, no, we're actually going to be releasing the game that they've released over there. Interesting. Right. Very interesting. I
think for everything we know about Archeage, appropriate. Not only interesting, but also appropriate. When you look at things like Terra is a perfect
Hmm.
example, right? It had it in Korea for a long time, then it makes its way west, and when it gets here, we're like, okay, this really isn't what we were expecting because it was more Korean flavored with the grind and things like that. Aeon was another that huge. It was a monster grind at launch, and then was westernized by making itself a quest grind after not doing so hot for a year. Those types of games, those traditional MMORPGs, I think they have to be specific to the region and maybe not full different models, but catered a little bit to the regions they're in. I don't think you need to do that with a sandbox style MMORPG. And so I think Archeage, EverQuest Next, these games that are adopting more of a sandbox nature where the user's responsible for most of the content or what they're going to do today when they log in, I think it's almost appropriate. Leave it the same. Just turn it into English and let them go.
It's gonna be really interesting to see how it goes. It's gonna be really
What do
interesting.
you think? Are you
I don't know.
surprised by that? I wasn't.
Well, I'm slightly surprised by it because, like I said, most of all the PR and you've heard out of other games is they usually are trying to convince the Western audiences that, like, hey guys, give us some time because we're really focusing on what you want and we're going to change all the things that we know that you'll want. Again,
Right.
but I kind of agree with you. It's hard to know exactly what the systems are like in Archeage right now. Like I said, I've watched a ton of the videos. I've seen all that stuff. I like what I see. I'm actually very excited about this game. And yes, if the tools for the sandbox are there to really let the population, the player base, tell the story, basically, so to speak, go out in the world, do what they want, and the story of the game really becomes much more PvP, open world, nation fighting, things like that, or guild fighting and clans and stuff like that. If the tools are there, then yeah, maybe they don't really need all that stuff. I don't know. There's a million lines. There's a million pieces of text that need to be translated. So it's going to be interesting to see what it takes to get from to start engaging in all those different things. Hopefully you can do that stuff at a really low level, and it's just about being a sandbox. I don't know. It's really hard for me to tell. I did think it was interesting though that they're just sort of being like, no man, we're just giving you this. Like, this is what you're going to get.
It was weird though because Archeage was one that way back when I first caught wind of it, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll check it out because I just checked them all out, but I wasn't really okay. I got to play that. It progresses a little bit. Trion steps in, and all of a sudden they're the NA publisher. Now I'm super interested because I like what that company does for the MMO space, and now everything since then just keeps making me more and more interested in this title. And
what's interesting you so much because
I'm kind of like a 50-50 sandbox guy. I'm not a Gary.
That's what I was going to say.
Like,
you're not a big
the sandbox.
Yeah, so you're not a big sandbox guy and you're not a big PvPer. So what's drawing you in on Archeage that's getting you intrigued?
Just some of the things that, like this type of stuff, where Trion openly says, look, you're going to get what's already out. And I've seen all the videos and going, I want to mess around with that. I don't know what some of this stuff does, but I want to get in there and mess around with some of these things in the videos I've seen. And then the whole idea of, I may not be into PvP all that much, where I'm playing MOBAs or doing ranked battlegrounds and Warfronts and things like that in Rift and World of Warcraft and all that fun stuff. But there is a certain appeal, even for somebody that's not good at PvP, at griefing and ganking your friends, and this game explores that even more. So just small things that keep adding up and make me really want to jump in and at least give it a whirl. So get the damn betas up.
Are you finding yourself? Because I think is it safe to say that you're more of a theme park style MMO player?
I'm more definitely. That's fair. I'm more of a PvE guy, rating.
I'm not trying to box you into one specific thing, but we'll just say in generalizations.
Yeah,
do you find yourself like at the point where you feel this shift where you're looking for something slightly different? Because you kind of seem like it's like, and then we're seeing now we're just kind of coming back to some MMOs like Firefall, Archeage, where there's a couple companies now trying to do this thing, and I've noticed your interest in both of these titles. So I'm wondering if
Yeah, I don't think it's. I'm not as black and white as some other MMO players are, where. And we've talked about this before, where there's the sudden, because action combat exists, there's no need for tab targeting anymore, and any game that ever uses it is antiquated and should never be played by anybody. I don't belong to that school of thought. I think there's still room for all these different types of mechanics and games and more traditional things and more exploratory new things. But yeah, I do agree with you that while I like my rating and leading those things in the 10s and the 25 and the PvE and the theme park experience and things like that, I do find myself now kind of creeping out of that, looking for other things.
What do you think's holding it back? What do you think's been holding it back? Because like I'll bring up the other night about Firefall, because we jumped into Firefall the other night. I'm diverting off far, and it was one of your first times in months that you'd had actually played. You played a long time ago. You know nothing about the game, and you dropped in, and you were like semi-confused, but you were rolling with a bunch of people that kind of semi knew what they were doing. Not me. We had people who did know what they were doing. What did you think about the whole experience of like getting into a game like that though, and not really knowing what the heck to do? Because very different experience than jumping into even like, let's just say the last other thing that you're playing a lot of right now is the Final Fantasy Realm Reborn beta, right?
Right.
So you jump in that game and it's like straight up theme park. Here you go. Here's a quest leading you, and
what do you need, Mr. Gannon?
Right, but you're loving that game. But you're loving that game. But that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm wondering, like, so you're kind of playing these two games that are kind of very different. What were your thoughts going through when you played? Did you have a good experience? Did you enjoy not knowing what the heck was going on, or were you just sort of like, bah!
Yeah, there's a certain element of discovery that I like as well. I don't like being so lost to the point where as soon as I come into the game, I have no clue what I can do. I'm okay with not knowing what I'm supposed to do or what I should be doing. But when a game leaves you, and PlanetSide 2, I hated PlanetSide 2 when it originally first launched because it just dropped you in the middle of combat. You knew nothing about your class or your character. There was no tutorial videos or anything. And that's not even a sandbox game, for crying out loud. I hate when I have no clue what you can do. Firefall didn't leave me with that feeling and when we played most recently. I knew what I could do. I knew the basic gist of the battle frame I had picked and what I should be doing. Yes, I didn't know the intricacies of where to get the things and what I should be getting and what I should be building and how I could spend my time and what does this quest mark on my map mean? What does this mark on my map mean? But that came with the 4 or 5 of us rolling around having a good time. I had a basic idea of what my limitations were, and then we just had fun as a group. And that's the type of experience that I like in a sandbox.
So it's more about the community. But it probably would have been.
I could never play Archeage alone. If nobody else at Gamebreaker or any of my friends play Archeage, I'll be in it for half an hour just to get a brief opinion on the game, and that'll be it. It's all about the community.
Yeah, and I've been telling a lot of people about it, especially jumping into some of these games. It's like, hey, if you can jump in with some people who know what's going on, it's a very different experience. I think it's with all MMOs, but I think it's specific. I think it's heightened when you start talking about sandbox games, which actually a good time. I'll fill you guys in really quick. I keep forgetting to do this in all the shows, but people were asking me like, hey, can you guys do an update in all the shows because all the people watch different shows about what's going on with the Gamebreaker Nation? So I'll keep this short. Well, everybody wants an update. Is it go? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? It is actually moving forward right now at a pretty fast pace. Actually, we've been having some meetings behind the scenes with the officers and the event coordinators. The reason it was like delayed a bit was some technical things with the website. So we're working through those. We should be a bit closer within the next, I'd say, like 3 weeks, somewhere around there. So expect another update. Absolutely happening. Super pumped for it. I think you guys are going to be super pumped for it as well when you see all the stuff we got planned going on. We had an event like kind of coordination meeting just this afternoon with everybody, and JKK was heading that up and kind of gave this awesome presentation, just like, you know, how we're really going to I think we're going to do something just so different. I wish you should come to the meeting. It was great. No, it was great. Like, I really think we're going to do something and offer people something completely different that they're not used to. Like, I don't think that it's not just going to be like, hey, here's a mumble channel. Like, it's going to be so much more than that, and I think that's so. Yes, it's happening. Yes, it's a little bit delayed. Keep your eyes peeled. I'd say that once you see Gamebreaker, here's the switch. When you see Gamebreaker, switch over to the new layout, which is the same as FreeToPlay and CubeNation.tv. Once you see that happen, you know we're really close, and that I'm hoping is going to happen sometime next week. So that's all. There you go. So there's an update. Quick update.
Somebody from chat we talked about Final Fantasy for a minute, asked about when the next beta phase is.
Mm-hmm.
Live Letter 8 is on August 8th, and launch is on August 27th, so looks like open beta will be sometime in between then and probably only 1 week, not 2. There you go.
All right, next up.
Not even a sub-base show, and you got your information.
There you go. You put it right in there. And I believe, do you want to announce something about that?
Oh, can we?
It's up to you. I'm the one who always just drops everything. I just talk about anything.
Yeah, you are. Like when the free-to-play site, we're building the back end, and he's like, hey, so what are the odds on a 20th launch? I don't know, Gary. I mean, we probably could force it, but I'd rather wait another 2 weeks. And then later that day, I'm watching Twemo. Site launches on the 20th, and we're like, all of us in the back end are like, no! Yes, next Tuesday, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 Pacific. XIV Reborn. Woohoo!
He called it. Woo!
Yes! It's gonna be up to everybody that watches it to support it, because if it doesn't, obviously, if we're not getting the viewers, there's no reason to do it, guys. So spread the word
Exactly.
and get your Final Fantasy friends on that channel.
Yes. Next Tuesday at 4 PST. 4 PST, right? 4.
Yep.
Yeah,
4
4
your time,
PST.
7
Next
my
Tuesday
time.
we'll be live. Yes, you better get your friends to come out. I'm leaving it all on the community. I'm just gonna put all the pressure on the community. You guys don't watch, I'm canceling it. Fast. I'm gonna throw the box.
It's gonna throw
I'm
the
ready
new
for it.
box.
We're gonna see how it goes. We don't know. We're trying to gauge the show and see how the game goes. And we don't really know, so we decided we're gonna launch it. We're gonna do it. We'll do a Final Fantasy show. We're gonna do XIV Reborn. Bring it back and see how it goes for a few weeks, or give it some time and see how it goes. But the more people
good
that you
question, chat. It is a subscription-based game, so it will be a show on Gamebreaker TV streams, not free to play.
Yes, we're just talking about it here because Magic Man and myself are going to be the hosts. So keep an eye out. Tell your friends. All right, so next up, Trion's Simon Finch spoke to buffed.de about Rift 3.0. So the level cap is going up to 65 with 5 new levels in 3.0. And they're absolutely calling this an expansion. But it's looking like it's a download only. And get this, free for all players. So the 4 new souls we're getting, they are actually going to be sold on the store, correct?
Yeah, kind of like the Storm Legion souls are now for anybody that didn't own Storm Legion prior to the conversion or find a cheap copy at some retail establishment laying around. So you can still do that, but you'll buy the 4 souls from the cash shop, and I would assume that it's going to be very similar to the Storm Legion thing, where you can't buy the 4 souls individually. It's just the buy all 4. So I would assume that it's going to be that type of deal. No store-bought box plan for box babies like myself. It's looking like it's just going to be a digital download only.
So for those of you guys who don't know, maybe I've been in Rift for quite a while, but souls in Rift are essentially talent trees and abilities. So you put 3 together basically to make your class. What do you feel about Trion selling them though? I gotta ask some people. I gotta ask the pay to win question.
I think there could be an argument for pay to win if there was no balance. And that's not to say the game's perfectly balanced, right? No game is perfectly balanced, but at least there is the illusion of they're trying to be balanced. I don't think it could really be pay to win, since you can accomplish the same types of things, whether it's melee DPS or range DPS or tanking or healing. It's still a Trinity-based game. And you can accomplish that with other souls. So, while I could see the argument in my mind, no, paying for the souls themselves isn't pay to win. I think you're paying for a cool ability set or a very specific functionality, not the pay to win stuff.
What do you think they sell for? How much are they going for currently with this? $20?
Yep, for all 4 of the Storm Legion souls.
I mean,
that's the conversion with the credits. It's about 20 USD.
I mean, that's what I'm trying to think on both sides, because it's hard to argue with getting an expansion for free. But I'm sure this is going to cause some kind of controversy.
And one with a damn level cap raised.
Yes.
I'm still not there.
Why do you think they went with this approach? Why not just sell the expansion, even though the game is free to play now? Why not just sell the expansion? Or do you think that they're just going to have that many people?
It sounds so much better when you say we're giving away our expansion.
You think they're really just banking on most people will take the expansion, get the expansion for free, and then actually spend that $20 because they want those souls?
I'm going to, and I bet there's a good chance. I mean, there's one that I'm really, really interested in, but most of them as a whole, I probably will never use, but I'll buy them.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean, for
enjoying
most,
Rift right now. I'm like almost level 56, enjoying running the Chronicles with Q and doing instances and hoping to get into some raiding. I'm enjoying it. Yes, it's more traditional again, tab target, that whole thing, but I'm enjoying a lot of Rift. I gotta get to 60, Gary.
Got to get to 60. Yeah, Souls. I mean, Souls are like the biggest deal, kind of in certain aspects. It's kind of the biggest deal about Rift. I mean, it's definitely one of its largest strengths, I think. I mean, and buying one soul just doesn't give you like a new playstyle. I mean, depending on how you like min max your soul, it opens up a lot of options to how you play the game, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's this is another thing too that a lot of people argue about is like how flexible is that system really? Because in your mind, it's incredible flexibility. You've got dozens and dozens of souls, and you can match them any way you want. And that's true to a certain extent. But again, since it's Trinity-based, you're going to fall into certain areas. But it is all about if you want that one little ability, and you're only using 2 talent trees, there's nothing stopping you from grabbing an oddball soul and putting it in there just because you really wanted that one ability and have the points to do it. And there's something that's pretty cool about that. Stone pegged me, by the way. Yes, my 55 right now is a mage, and I'm interested in the mage tank soul. So,
pegged you. Now, one of the most exciting things that we've heard so far, though, has to be PvP dimensions. What do we know about this, sir?
All right, so this started initially a few weeks ago as an interview on MMORPG where Daglar, lead developer, lead designer, Bill Fisher, said that he had asked the PvP team to look into the ability to allow players to take their dimensions and build a warfront in them. Give them the ability to place a spawn point and things like that, and see, could it happen? And that was a few weeks ago, and it was just something he threw out there, and he said it may never happen. It was just something I asked them to look into. And apparently the answer was, we could do that pretty easily. Because within 2 weeks, we found out that in 3.0, you will be able to have at least the current plan is to give you the ability to do PvP dimension warfronts where you can go to the Rift Cash Shop, purchase a few dimension items. No news on if you can acquire them other ways yet. We're still quite a ways away from 3.0, so there's time to get all the details. But purchase your spawn points, your flag points, and things like that, and actually build a warfront that you could invite 5v5 and 10v10 to your dimension and have your own battle arena.
And now, like, and the thing is, now the thing you got to remember, if you guys haven't jumped in, if you did not check out when Rift launched Dimensions, which was their player housing system where you could build anything in there, I can't imagine how fun some of these are going to end up being, especially because of the Z-axis, the vertical stuff that you could build up. I mean, people built stuff like, you know, as far as they could up towards to the dome. It's just going to be interesting. It's not just going to be like a standard map editor, I think. So, I mean, some are going to be really fun, some are going to be lame, but I think
you were spotlighting at one time dimensions, and some of them were jump puzzles for crying out loud.
I mean, as soon as they launched Dimensions, the first thing I said was this should have PvP in these things. I mean, that was like the obvious, route. So this is awesome, and I think for PvPers, this is going to add a lot of fun.
PvPers give their feedback on this after it's all launched and everything, but he's already alluded to they have other ideas for this too, that aren't just PvP related, but they want to see how the PvP community takes it first.
Going to be really interesting. Very cool. Sounds awesome.
I don't even like PvP, and I'll do it.
And this sounds cool, right? And the setting of this expansion sounds pretty awesome on paper as well. So you're going to be heading to the Plane of Water, which is the realm beyond the water rifts, I guess. It's something that I think a lot of people talking about for a long time. It'll be interesting to see how they do future expansions now. Do you think that they're going to go with the theme and possibly go like fire, water, death, all that kind of stuff?
They certainly could. I mean, it seemed like prime cannon fodder from launch for the expansions to come in that fashion. Storm Legion was kind of like, oh, wow. They didn't do what we thought they were going to do. But yeah, it seems logical they certainly could.
What's you said 3.0 is far off. What's kind of far off? What are we looking at an estimated time frame?
If I had to guess, just based on oddball comments from on the forums and from Daglar and different interviews, I would put this one at probably 8 to 12 months away still.
Oh, wow.
We still have some time before this. We still have a couple 2-point patches to go as well.
Sure.
So there's still plenty of time.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on 3.0. I'm sure they're gonna be dumping more information on us very, very, very soon. All right. I want to talk about End of Nations, but first I want to tell you guys about Shutterstock. Talked to you guys before about creating a website. Well, now you got to make it look cool. And how are you going to do that? Well, you're going to go over to Shutterstock. You're going to make an account, and I'm going to save you 30% off just by using the code Gamebreaker7. What is Shutterstock? They've got stock footage, icons, photography, vectors, artwork, all that kind of stuff. You got a guild website. You want to make it cool? Check this out. I just typed this in. I typed in orc. It's the first thing I thought of. I just typed in orc. This is what I came up with. How awesome is this concept art? There's a background for your guild website right there. I mean, could you imagine how much it would cost an artist to make them some of this stuff? Here's another piece, probably by the same artist, looked kind of similar, but this is like some custom, and all of it's licensed. So if you have an account with Shutterstock, I mean, the artist has spent time, effort making these things, posting them up here. You sign up and you make an account, and it grants you a license to use this stuff. I mean, this is just perfect background imagery for a guild website. Very, very cool stuff. If you want to go a little bit more cartoony and old school, they've got it's pretty cool, goofy, but cool. Oh, I'm so sad. You want to go more cartoony, but really all different kinds of, whatever kind of flavor you want to put on your website. Maybe you want to go goofy, right? Look at this guy. You can make it fun. You can make it cool. You can make it mean. Oh, look, you can make it 8-bit. Going for that pixelated Minecraft voxel kind of look. There you go, right then and there. So I'm only scratching the surface with this stuff. You can go over to Shutterstock and start searching some stuff. Orc, fantasy stuff, castles, backdrops, all this stuff. This is the secret weapon of Gamebreaker. When we go over and we make new websites, you need artwork and all that stuff. This is where we go. It's where we go. Check it out. Want to save you guys 30% off? Go over to Shutterstock.com. Make an account and make sure to use the promo code Gamebreaker7 to save 30% off.
Didn't you use some of that stuff on Cube Nation?
Roar! Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Almost, I think honestly, at this point, every single one of our websites is utilizing Shutterstock.
That's right. SMAT images are coming from there.
Yeah, my SMAT cartoony guy and Shaftnits came from here. All this stuff. That's where it all comes from. I mean, it would cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars to hire an artist, at least. I mean, seriously, to have somebody kind of do a render like this for you, like any of these, this would cost me hundreds of dollars. Ooh, jeez.
Whoa.
Put some pants on, bro.
Hey, you want to join the Rootless clan?
But look at this guy. Derp. That's pretty cool art. That's good. It's cool style. I like it. Yeah, it would cost hundreds of dollars to hire somebody, commission somebody, go through a contract, get a couple revisions, the whole nine. I don't have time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Let's go over to Shutterstock, do a search, find some stuff. I put them in a light box. I look through them again a couple times and then decide on some stuff, and boom, let's go. Let's make a site. There you go. Check it out. Shutterstock.com, Gamebreaker7. Use that offer code and get 30% off. All right, so next up, End of Nations executive producer Scott Lane spoke with RTS Guru. Maybe you should have spoken to MOBA Guru. Am I right?
My Trion joke was better.
It was. Yours actually was better. But here's what he had to say. He said, the game hasn't changed as much as it sounds like. We've made the game more hero-focused, and the biggest change would be tactical leveling. A big concern we had previously was that battles and tactics didn't really change because everyone was exactly the same at the beginning and end. He said, the addition of tactical leveling opens up lots of different strategies throughout a battle. Combat is very similar but faster, and we've made a lot of changes to the UI. We don't feel we drastically changed the game at its core. We brought what we felt were the best parts up to the surface and removed some stuff that wasn't working. Then why did they change the genre? So is it just so if people weren't paying attention to this recently? They came out and they said basically they're calling it now a MOBA RTS. They still have RTS in there, but all of a sudden MOBA got tacked on. We
And
wondered
it's not
why.
like Trion didn't know that MOBA was going to make everybody go, what?
Is there an NDA on this new version? Have we heard from players much about? There is. So we haven't really heard much about how different this game is.
Well, there's stuff out there that shouldn't be, but it's the same deal that you get everywhere.
I don't know. I'm kind of confused by this. Right now, until we really see it, I want to see how much MOBA it is. It definitely feels like a genre change because the term MOBA is very popular.
Right. And for them to use it, I mean, there have to be some core elements. Trion's not just going to throw that out there without somebody going, you know what, there's a lot of stuff here that we're doing that's MOBA-like. Let's throw that term onto the RTS. There had to have been, as much as Scott wants to say there weren't a lot of changes, there were clearly enough that they felt the term MOBA applied in some fashion.
It has to.
Which means there were pretty big changes made.
But then he got it down. He kind of downplays all the changes and sort of says like, hey, and I can understand some of these changes on paper, what he talks about. I mean, faster. Yes, I can understand that. Faster sometimes is better. Kind of keep the pace up, make it more exciting. A better UI, more tactical options. All sound good. I don't know. Maybe it's got that mobile accessibility that it needs now. I don't know. I don't know.
I do like he's like, well, we were concerned about battles and tactics. They didn't really change, so we fixed those from beginning to end. The tactical leveling, now it opens up a bunch of different strategies now throughout the battle. The combat is similar, but we've changed the pace and the speed on that. We made a ton of changes to the UI, but we haven't really drastically changed anything.
No, it's pretty much at its core the same game.
It's pretty much the same thing.
Correct. He also said this. He said, heroes are the center point in battles. Heroes are more powerful, but some also enhance your unit. So each hero has 4 abilities. Some are active abilities that you click on to make something happen, and others are passive, like speed increase for you and your units. Every ability has 4 different levels that can increase strength, as well as influence on your company. So the game and tactics will change dramatically throughout a battle. So on one hand, I guess a hero with 4 abilities sounds very much like a MOBA. So that is, I guess, where they're adding that in there. But there have been plenty of regular RTS games with heroes just like that, haven't there?
Yeah, you've seen. I don't know if you'd go as far as like they're exactly that type of build 4 abilities and you level up, but you have seen this type of concept before, where the RTS game allows you to control a bunch of little people, but your main focus is one. We've seen Total Annihilation kind of do that, and then its spiritual successor, what is that? Supreme Commander? Chad, if I got the name wrong, let me know. I'm pretty sure it's Supreme Commander, where you had the ACU unit that was like responsible for all of your core building, but also took part in combat and could have its abilities leveled up and things like that. So we've seen that in quite a few games. Total Annihilation, by the way, just bought up by your favorite company, Wargaming.
There you go.
That's a huge acquisition.
That is. I mean, I guess MOBA just means, it means multiplayer online battle arena, so it's literally everything. But obviously, I think gamers associated with League of Legends and Dota and Dota 2. And is it just that the maps are set up with similar objectives to those types of games, and that's where they're kind of, instead of controlling one hero, you also control a bunch of units? I mean, I guess it's kind of cool. It sounds like it might be an interesting sort of meld.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to turn RTS fans off, though. I mean, it sounds like so much has changed. I'm more RTS than I am MOBA by a mile, and I'm questioning some of the decisions on this one. I understand that Trion might not have been in the best situation with this whole title, and now they're trying to make lemonade out of lemons. But I have severe questions about how well this one shakes out.
It's almost like you're in charge of the minions, I guess. I don't know. I got to say the MOBA genre is a scary one to get into. A lot of people getting into it. But it does seem like End of Nations is possibly going to be unique. And hopefully that
it'll certainly be at least that much.
It'll be interesting to see what this actually is. Hopefully we get to see it quite soon. Mr. Mike Byrne, follow him on Twitter at MagicMan, MAGICKMANN1. I'll leave that up there so you can write it down.
Oh, it's not that bad.
All right. You can keep writing. I'm waiting.
Oh, come on now. It's got 2 extra letters and the number 1.
All right. You can follow me again. You can follow me at Gary Gann and follow Gamebreaker TV, Gamebreaker TV. We do the show live every Friday at 4 PST, so come on over for the live show. And check out our brand new website, CubeNation.tv. It's an all Cube World site. Check that out, CubeNation.tv. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you next week for some more Derpy Dragon.